We are moving straight into Sector 3 of Conquest for Jocasta Nu. Let's go ahead and break down the best teams to use for you to get that red box and keep her out of Proving Grounds. Let's do this. Welcome to Sector 3, ladies and gentlemen, of the Conquest for Jocasta Nu. Let's take a look at the feats that we need to complete in this sector. First of all, we have the Slow It feat, which is attempt to inflict speed down 50 times. Absolutely fine, we've got great cheeses for that. We need to win 10 battles with Captain Rex surviving and 10 battles with STAP surviving. Now, if you have got strong enough teams, you can double dip here, take them in together with some strong compatriots, and you will get both of those feats done in one battle, which is great. And then finally, I don't take orders from the dead. We gain Adapt or Die 35 times. I nearly said 50 there. This one is the only little bit of an irritating feat. It's not particularly difficult, but there's no real reliable way to properly cheese it that I've found just yet, and it's only available from one character. That character is Aiden Versio. For the mid-sector boss, we're facing off against a Starkiller team. We have two feats to get here. One is win with Balin's Skull in your squad. Doesn't need to survive, but typically if you've got Balin's Skull, I would like to think that you've probably got a heavy level of investment in him. And the second one is win with only light side characters, so obviously you cannot double dip on this sector feat. Now you've got the end sector boss, and this is a Captain Enoch team. Over here, you have to win with a full squad of Bad Batch, and you have to win with a full squad of Gungans. Bad Batch, not so bad, relatively old team at this point. People may well have a decent level of investment in them, and the Gungans will absolutely destroy, but it is of course dependent on you having Jar Jar. That is the only way you can get a full squad of Gungans victory. The good news is neither of those battles are particularly difficult. Going over our data discs then, I tend to run a weak point and weak spot setup over here, and then I like all the turn meter gaining data discs that we can find. Quickening in particular is very, very powerful. It will give you a base speed boost as well as a base evasion boost for all your characters, and it does stack. So quickening and quickening and quickening, and I'm using 2 Ruthless Swiftness and a Spirited Speed. Essentially anything that's going to give me turn meter generation is things I like. Just in general for this, Weak Spot gives us the advantage of being able to ramp our offense very well. If you've got something like Voluntary Vanguard, that is also very useful, particularly if you have weak Captain Rex or a weak STAP, and you need to protect them with chunkier units. Starting off with a bit of Adapt or Die then, you don't need to go against any particular node. I just recommend you guys use this as you are developing through. Aiden Versio's second special is what does it, and she has to be in the proper team. Read her leadership to make sure you understand the context. That is no other leaders, all Imperial troopers, and no droid allies is what you want. After that, just try and get 1, maybe 2 uses of Adapt or Die in that battle, and you'll be done essentially in about 4 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds, depending on how well you actually do in cycling through those turns. You can see here I'm going up against a Droidica with that damage immunity. I'm only doing that to try and buy time to get round to a second ability with Aiden Versio. B1 battle droids are also useful here because, of course, they've got multiple stacks, and that can actually help you slow down things and get there. The good thing about having Voluntary Vanguard on this team is it will give it to Aiden in my instance, and Aiden, if she dies whilst she has Imperial Trooper allies, she's going to revive. Isn't that wonderful? So you can see, I think we just about managed to come back round here to a second use of the We Adapt or Die. I can't remember what the ability is called, her second special, and we do manage to get a second round of that We Adapt or Die buff on everybody there. So that there in itself is 10 uses out of 35. If you get lucky and build through this, it should be relatively quick. Worst case scenario, you take it in and you just have to blow, 5, 6, 7 battles going in with Aiden Versio. She will take a bonus turn at the start of the battle if you've got the right team setup like I'm running here. Use it twice and just have done with it. If not, you can go to the end sector, farm the bonus node, and that way you can earn some Datacron bonuses as well as getting this feat done. When it comes to using teams that you need to get wins with CRex and STAP surviving, I try to find teams that will let me double dip on feats whilst also being very powerful. So Inquisitors, having Reaver and Grand Inquisitor with those weak point, weak spot data discs, lots of damage right out the rip, but we've also got a source of speed down with Vader's Force Crush. That'll help you as you progress through the sector, and provided you can get these 2 to survive, that will be a way of getting those wins there as well. With Voluntary Vanguard, obviously that will go on Reaver. She will pre-taunt anyway, but it should be pretty reliable. Not everybody will have that though, obviously. We can also use a Gas 501st team over here. 5s on his basic does apply speed down, so it's a useful one to have here. Captain Rex and CRex also have some synergy with clones and 501st in general, and you should be able to protect your STAP with the taunt from your gas. After that, we do still have a CLS squad that we can use with Han and Chewbacca. Captain Rex over here, there is speed down on CLS's basic, and there's really good damage output as well as tenacity down from Chewbacca, so another useful one to have. There's also a speed down CRex STAP setup that you can use on the bonus node at the end here using Palpatine, and using Darth Vader. Lots of turn meter generation. You can draw that battle out if you're not using weak spot. So here's some footage of me doing a speed down cheese. This is without using any sort of weak spot or weak point. I'm not trying to get the enemy to essentially... I'm not trying to ramp my offense in this instance. This is the bonus node, the first bonus node at the end of the sector. They are very chunky if you do not have any source of ramping offense. So using Palpatine's leadership with Vader and Merciless Massacre, we're generating so much TM when we use Force Crush. We can control the enemy quite well. We can still get the CRex and STAP victories, and we will get all of our speed downs in one battle. Simply, when Vader uses that Force Crush, it's an AoE. It can apply up to 3 dots and speed down on the entire enemy team. Doesn't matter if they have that tenacity up. They do not have to actually land the speed down, just as long as you attempt to inflict it. So because we're gaining so much turn meter, we're cycling through turns here, so we do Force Crush into Merciless Massacre. That will give us essentially a full round of turns, and we'll get another Force Crush at the end of it there. See, another Force Crush. Once you have done that essentially, like 10 times? 10 Force Crushes in any battle, you will get all of the speed downs that you need. So this is a quick and easy one, and eventually I do win this battle. It just takes it all the way down to the wire. As you can see, go all the way down to 13, 10 seconds left, and it's just Saw Gerrera left. That will get you all of your speed downs in one battle and let you farm Datacron nodes and still get you STAP and CRex kills. Good combo, really. Alternatively, you can go against a team that does light damage and does a lot of attacks. I'm talking about your Geonosians, I'm talking about your Mon Mothma team, something like that. And I'm using a CRex, 5s, then using Armorer, Watt, and Hermit Yoda. Here, what we're relying on is our 5s. When 5s does a basic, he applies speed down. You can see it there applied to that Geonosian Brute. I'm using characters like Armorer and Hermit Yoda and Watt just to give some survivability to my 5s. So I'm putting on things like triple stacks of Beskar armor, which will stop him from being crit and give him counterattacks 100% of the time. I put the med pack tech on him so that he can recover after every turn. If you do not have voluntary vanguard, you'll want to put the tank tech on him. Hermit Yoda can place Master's Training, which increases his defense and his stats and that sort of thing, and then you can just put it on auto basic and leave it be once you've got that triple stacks of Beskar armor on there. And against these Geo teams, provided you have nothing to ramp your damage like weak spot and weak point, you will get through without killing anybody. You can just let this thing run and it will be absolutely fine. Yeah, it's no problem. This will get you 50 in one turn as well. As you can see, we go all the way to the end, and I just put it onto manual full auto. And we don't kill them because we have no way of actually defeating the Geos. Easy way of getting speed down done. Heading over to the mid-sector boss then. Win with Bale and Skull. I'm not going to show you that. I'm sure if you've got Bale and Skull, you can beat this team. Win with only light side characters. What I would recommend that you do is go in with light side Mandalorians if you happen to have them. The reason I say that, of course, is because it will help you with that global feat to get 20 wins with light side Mandos, and that's just some extra key cards for you. If not, you can go ahead and use a team like I'm using here, which just is a BAM Scoundrels team, essentially. I've used Skiffguard Lando here in the hope that I could turn me to swap it over to somebody and get those Whistling Birds out quickly, but realistically it didn't actually come into play, unfortunately. However, you can still get some pretty good work done with this if you've still got your weak points and that sort of thing. That will ramp your damage quite quickly. I just focused on taking out Palpatine at the start. Once you've taken out one unit in a Starkiller team, it tends to fall apart quite quickly. So yeah, just use what you can, but like I said, if you do have somebody like Bo-Katan Mandalore, she is an ideal candidate to use here, just so that you can double dip on those global feats. Otherwise, I don't think you should struggle too much trying to clear through with a team like this BAM team. If not, just take in any of your strongest light side Galactic Legends, Gas 501st, all that sort of thing will work. The end sector boss then, we need to do 2 battles. Again, we need to win with a full squad of Bad Batch, and we need to win with a full squad of Gungans. Once again, just make sure you've got those weak spot or weak point data discs, anything that's going to ramp your damage like that, and have speed data discs like volatile accelerator, not volatile accelerator, sorry, like quickening and spirited speed and all that sort of good business. With the Bad Batch, and generally with any team here, when we're going a bit up against Enoch, I'd recommend try to get rid of the Dark Trooper as soon as possible. The Dark Trooper is not able to benefit from that sort of crit avoidance so much, is easier to take out than the others. So if you have got weak point, a Bad Batch team is actually pretty strong in Conquest. They do put out quite a lot of debuffs, lots of controls, a lot of it is irresistible as well, so it's a good way of ramping up damage really, really quickly. Like I said, take out Dark Trooper first, and then if you can, focus on Captain Enoch. I'm pretty sure that I just put this on full auto and have fun. The enemy will basically be stunned and won't be able to do much of anything for most of this battle. Because they are healing up and dropping below 100% health quite frequently as well, it does mean that we gain a lot of turn meter from our data discs. So honestly, I would just put it on full auto. You can see how the game is just completely controlled here to within a T. If we do happen to land a critical hit as well, we will stop them from having that decay kick in and give them a sort of partial revive. But otherwise, shouldn't be too much issues for us here, ladies and gentlemen. Just blitz through. And the same approach really when it comes to the Gungans. Of course, you do need Jar Jar to make this work, so if you do not have that legendary unlock, you're gonna just have to skip this feat. There's no way around that, unfortunately. He is still a very valuable legendary character to have, in my opinion, and again, another team that highly benefits from having those weak spot, weak point. They put out so many debuffs across the field that their offense ramps up insanely quickly here. Honestly, going in with Gungans and hitting full auto is probably enough. Lots of AoE, lots of bonus turns, lots of turn meter gains. You've got things like Deathmark, you've got things like debuffs ramping your offense so quickly. Nothing really to worry about here. I'm not sure why I'm playing it manually. Looks like after 30 seconds I decided, you know what, this ain't worth my time. Let's just hit the full auto button and have some fun. I don't think I lose any units here. They can't really do much of anything to me. Even landing that death mark over there on Night Trooper means I'm just going to kill him a little bit quicker. Of course, we can't really crit most of the time, so we're going to have to go through that decay, but it's not really an issue. Alright then, let's think about the overview of Sector 3 then. What do we need to do? We need to get speed down 50 times. Key teams to do this is going to be like an EP Darth Vader team. Darth Vader does an AoE speed down on his first special. With Emperor Palpatine, you will generate lots and lots of turn meter for turn meter looping. You will also get speed down on the first special from Scout Trooper, so use Scout Trooper with your Iden Versio in order to get that other feat which relates to We Adapt or Die. Make sure you get the correct team comp to use with Iden Versio for that. Try and drag it out a little bit. This sector is actually quite easy for this because if you can double dip with that CRex and that STAP team, put them together with some strong teams like CLS, with teams like Inquisitors, with teams like Galactic Legends, all that sort of good business will help you double dip on feats and power through this sector. Iden Versio is the trickiest one to have done. On the mid-sector boss, you only really need a light side team and Balin's Skull. So Balin's Skull, for those of you that have done the legendary event, absolutely fine. The light side team, if you can, use Bo-Katan Mandalore to help with you getting the global feat for 20 wins with light side. And then the sector end boss is just going to be 2 battles. We need to do it with Bad Batch, and then we need to do it with Gungans, both of which are very easy to do if you happen to have weak spot and weak point. And of course, you will need Jar Jar in order to get that last feat done. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sector 3. Keep a sharp eye out for Sector 4. It will not be long in the making, and I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.